it's Haley Fitzpatrick here, and this is my video for the photosynthesis lab, in which I will be talking about the light reactions and the Calvin cycle for the photosynthesis. So let's start here with light reactions. So the light reactions occurs in the thylakoid membrane, which I labeled here. There's also the thylakoid space and the stroma. So we can start here. There's a photon of light that comes through into photosystem 2. And photosystem 2 has a reaction center, which is in the middle. That's like the middle one right here that I colored green. And chlorophyll molecules, which are the green, there's many chlorophylls inside, send energy to the reaction center in the middle. And there are important chlorophylls in the reaction center called chlorophyll A, which donate electrons to the electron transport chain in the process, which is a process that starts, which I labeled in blue. But you may wonder, how does this thing go through the cycle? How do you go back through it? Well, the missing electrons are replaced by water splitting enzyme, which I drew up here in blue, which is also called oxygen evolving complex. So it's water splitting, so the two waters gives off oxygen. And there's also 4 protons involved as well. And this is how the electrons are replenished over time and time again. So the cycle can keep going back and back and back and back. So here we are, we have the electron. It goes through the electron transport chain through electron carriers and also through a B6F complex. So it goes first through plastoquinone, carries it to the B6F complex, which of course in an electron transport chain, there's also a proton gradient, which happens here, where it goes from diffuses through the hydrogens diffuse through the B6F complex, which you can see. The cytochrome B6F complex, and it goes up into the thylakoid space. And next, the electron goes up through, which I labeled in blue. It goes through another electron carrier called the plastocyanide, labeled PC, and this carries it to the photosystem 1. And simultaneously, photosystem 2 and photosystem 1, photons of light are coming through. So this photon of light, chlorophyll then donates. The chlorophyll A, in photosystem 1 donates its electron to ferredoxin. And then ferredoxin down here creates the ferredoxin NADP reductase. And this occurs in the stroma. As you can see, it's labeled in the stroma, so that's a very important change, which you need to know. And the ferredoxin NADP reductase takes a proton in NADP plus and generates NADPH, which that NADPH goes to the Calvin cycle. So an important note is NADPH is the final electron acceptor, which you can see here. So it's the final electron acceptor for the electron transport chain. And also while this is happening, you know, the protons come across and everything. So there's ATP synthase involved as well. So this ATP synthase takes those protons come across in the thylakoid space, it takes them back over down to the stroma. So this is happening in the stroma and has ADP and a phosphate and creates ATP. And this ATP, which is created in the stroma, also goes into the Calvin cycle. So now we can go to the Calvin cycle, which I hope y'all like my colors. So Calvin cycle importantly occurs in the stroma. And there is an enzyme, which I labeled here, called Ribulose biphosphate oxygenase carboxylase. And this catalyzes a carbon-fixing reaction. So it takes the Ribulose 1,5 biphosphate and a carbon dioxide and joins them together. And this creates everything. And an important note is the Calvin cycle, it's turning 3 times in this diagram. So this 5 carbon and the 3 carbon dioxides, 6 molecules, creates a 3 phosphoglycerate 3 carbon molecule. And it uses ATP, also 3 biphosphoglycerate 3 carbon molecule. Uses NADPH, which these ATP and ADP and NADP plus goes back to the light reaction, so always used again. And then comes the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, which is a 3 carbon molecule. So here, 6 molecules. It goes to 5 molecules because 1 molecule of the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate leaves the cycle And it's used to make things like sugars, fatty acids, amino acids, and also, importantly, glucose. Which glucose you need more than one turn in the cycle. So you need 6 carbon dioxides and 6 also Ribulose 1,5 biphosphate is named RuBP. So it needs 6 of those. So then the cycle goes on, So the cycle goes on from there with 5 molecules. And it goes glyceraldehyde, 3-phosphate, 3 carbon molecule, gives off 2 phosphates. And here this gets kind of confusing. There's many enzymes involved and everything, but importantly, it changes the 5 molecule, 3 carbon molecule to a 5 carbon molecule. So it goes from 5 molecules back to 3 molecules to start the cycle again. That's really what it's going. It's changing, transforming, and it uses 3 ATPs as well. And overall, that is the Calvin cycle, which occurs in the stroma. So I have the light reactions here, Calvin cycle here, and overall that's photosynthesis. Thank you for watching.